I still remember the sound of her laughter, soft, distant, like something already slipping away. If I close my eyes, I can still hear it echo through our apartment, bouncing off the white walls we swore we'd paint someday. Funny, isn't it? How someday never comes until it's too late. The night I found out it was raining, not the cinematic kind, no thunder, no dramatic lightning, just that soft, endless drizzle that turns everything gray. Emily was running late from work. I texted her twice, "You okay? And should I wait for dinner?" But there was no reply. That wasn't like her, or at least it wasn't like the Emily I thought I knew. I poured myself a glass of whiskey just to quiet the restless thoughts. The city outside our window buzzed faintly, sirens, a car horn, a couple arguing somewhere down the block. It all felt detached. Like the world was going on without me. And then my phone buzzed, a voicemail from her. It was short, 27 seconds. Her voice came through soft, shaky, and then a man's voice. Muffled, low. At first I thought, no, that can't be right. Maybe it was someone from work, maybe it was nothing. But the tone in her voice, I'd never heard her sound like that. Tender, nervous, almost guilty. "I can't stop thinking about you," she whispered. And then a faint laugh, his laugh, before she hung up. I just sat there, staring at the wall. That voicemail felt like a bomb that didn't explode, it just hollowed me out from the inside. For a minute I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't even feel them. You spend years building a life with someone, all the little inside jokes, the routines, the arguments about toothpaste caps, and then in 27 seconds it's all gone. I must have replayed it a dozen times, each time hoping maybe I misheard something. Maybe the universe would rewrite the words if I just listened again, but it didn't. And the more I listened, the quieter the apartment felt. That night she came home just before midnight. Her hair was damp from the rain, cheeks flushed, smiling faintly when she saw me still awake. "Hey," she said, setting her bag down, "you're up late." I didn't say anything. Just stared at her, the phone still in my hand. She frowned. "Jake, what's wrong?" I played the voicemail, her face, God, I'll never forget it. The color drained from her skin instantly. Her eyes flickered down, then away, then back at me. She didn't even try to deny it at first, just this awful silence that filled the room like smoke. Finally, she whispered, "Jake, it's not what you think." I almost laughed. "Not what I think. There's a man's voice in your voicemail, Emily. You said you can't stop thinking about him. What am I supposed to think?" I asked. My voice came out quieter than I expected, calm, too calm. She started talking fast, too fast. About how things had been confusing lately, about how she didn't mean for it to happen. That's the line that sticks with me, didn't mean for it to happen, like she tripped and fell into someone else's arms. I remember every detail, the sound of rain against the window, the hum of the fridge, the faint scent of her perfume, everything normal, except nothing was normal anymore. Finally, I asked the only question that mattered. "Do you love him?" She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. When she finally said, "I don't know," something in me broke quietly, cleanly, like glass underfoot. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone across the room to make her feel the same chaos tearing through me. But I didn't. I just stood there watching her cry, realizing that love doesn't end with fireworks. It ends with silence. She said she needed space. That she didn't want to hurt me more. And the next morning she was gone. Her toothbrush was still by the sink, her sweater still on the couch, but she was gone. For weeks I tried to make sense of it. I replayed every argument, every cold moment, every subtle shift in her eyes over the past year. How she'd started working late. How she'd stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings. How she'd started wearing perfume to meet clients. It was all there, I just didn't want to see it. And yet, even after everything, part of me still hoped she'd come back, that maybe she'd realize what she'd lost. That maybe love could fix this. But love, I learned, isn't a repair tool. It's a mirror. It shows you who you really are when everything breaks. The last time I heard her voice for a while, it wasn't in person. It was that same voicemail. The one that started it all. The one I saved not out of revenge, but because I couldn't let go. It sat there on my phone for months, 27 seconds, her voice, his laugh, my heartbreak. Until the night I realized maybe that voicemail wasn't just a wound. Maybe it was proof that I wasn't crazy, proof that I wasn't the one who gave up, proof that someday, somehow, I'd need to let others hear it too. And that someday came when I decided to invite her family over. Soft pause. That's when everything changed. The morning after she left, the apartment felt foreign. Every sound was louder, the kettle boiling, the floorboards creaking, even the sound of my own breathing. There's something strange about waking up in a place that still smells like the person who broke your heart. Her perfume lingered on the pillow. Her hairbrush sat on the dresser. And on the fridge, a photo of us from our weekend in Vermont, smiling like idiots, holding hands. I couldn't throw it away, not yet. At first, I told myself it was temporary, that Emily just needed space. That she'd come back once the confusion cleared, but space has a way of stretching into silence, and silence becomes distance. And distance, it becomes a wall you can't see over anymore. Weeks passed. I went to work, came home, pretended to function. I stopped talking to friends, stopped answering my mom's calls, because what was I supposed to say? Hey, Emily's gone, she fell in love with someone else. No. I wasn't ready for that sentence to exist, but pain has a way of finding you even when you're hiding. One night, while cleaning the apartment trying to feel in control, I found her old tablet. She'd left it behind. I don't know if it was by accident or cruelty. At first I hesitated. I didn't want to go through it, but curiosity and heartbreak make a dangerous mix. I opened it. The wallpaper was still us, her head on my shoulder, both of us laughing at something stupid. Then I saw the messages, not many, just a few that hadn't been deleted, but enough. Ethan, that was his name. Their chat was casual at first. Work jokes, compliments, then the slow shift, late night, you still up, texts, emojis, and then words that hit harder than the voicemail ever could. You make me feel alive again. I wish Jake understood me like you do. I hate sneaking around, but I can't stay away. I stared at the screen until the text blurred. I wasn't angry yet, just hollow, like someone had reached inside and taken out everything that made me me. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was realizing she'd built another version of herself with someone else, one I never got to meet. Ethan, the name alone started to echo in my mind like static. I tried to picture him, probably confident, probably the kind of guy who always knows what to say, probably everything I wasn't. I hated him not because he stole her, but because he got the version of her I'd spent years trying to hold on to. After that night, something changed in me. I stopped replaying the voicemail. I started running again through the quiet city streets before sunrise when the world still felt asleep. Pain has this strange alchemy. If you survive long enough, it starts turning into strength. I started reading again, journaling. Even cooking properly. For the first time in months, the silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like clarity. But every so often, I'd see her name pop up somewhere, tagged in a photo, mentioned by a mutual friend. Always smiling, always happy. And each time it hurt a little less. Until one day it didn't hurt at all, just curiosity. I clicked on her profile, and there he was, Ethan, tall, sharp-jawed, charming. The kind of guy who looked like he'd never known heartbreak. They were together, of course, weekend trips, dinner photos, captions like new beginnings. I stared for a while, then closed the app, and that was that. Months passed. The seasons changed, and slowly I started to feel like myself again. But the universe has a funny sense of timing. Just when you think the story's over, it finds a way to pull you back in. It happened on a random Tuesday. I was leaving the office when my phone buzzed, a voicemail notification from Emily. My chest tightened instantly. I hadn't heard from her in nearly half a year. For a second, I thought maybe she'd but dialed me again. But when I pressed play, her voice came through, trembling, broken. Jake, I know you don't owe me anything. I need to talk. Please, it's important. That was it. No explanation, no context. Just that same voice that used to make me feel safe, now sounding like it was begging for air. I didn't call back, not right away. I needed to think. Part of me wanted to delete it and move on. But another part, the part that still remembered the warmth in her laugh, the way she used to look at me when we danced in the kitchen, couldn't ignore it. A week later, I saw her name again. This time not on my phone. Her sister Claire had posted a family photo, and Emily wasn't in it. The caption read, "Rough week, but family always finds a way through." Something about it made me uneasy, so I called Claire. At first she was quiet. Then she sighed. "Jake, it's not my place to say much, but Emily's not doing great." "What do you mean?" I asked. "She and Ethan broke up badly. There were some things. I think she's staying with Mom for now." I felt a strange mix of things, pity, anger, confusion. She'd traded our life for someone else's, and now that someone else had left her broken. I didn't gloat, I couldn't. Because the truth was, I still cared, not in the same way, but enough to wonder how she ended up there. That night, I sat in the dark again, same couch, same window, different heart. I replayed her latest voicemail, her voice trembling, softer than I remembered. And I realized something. Maybe she wasn't calling for forgiveness. Maybe she was calling because she had nowhere else to go. And maybe, just maybe, the universe wasn't done with us yet. Soft pause. That's when I decided if she ever showed up again, I'd listen. But this time I wouldn't save her. This time I'd save myself. It happened on a Friday night, the kind of night that felt too quiet, too ordinary for something life-changing to happen. I'd just gotten home from work. The rain had started again, soft, steady, almost comforting. I was halfway through reheating leftovers when there was a knock on my door. 3 soft knocks, familiar, hesitant. For a moment I froze. It couldn't be. But then I heard her voice, muffled, shaky. "Jake, it's me." My heart stopped. I opened the door and there she was, Emily. She looked nothing like the woman who left me. Her hair was unkempt, her eyes swollen, makeup smudged like she'd cried for hours. She stood there in the rain, clutching a small duffel bag like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Can I come in?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. I just stepped aside. She walked in slowly, her eyes darting around the apartment, our apartment, like it was a museum of a life she used to live. Everything was the same, except for me. For a while, neither of us spoke. I just watched her. Every emotion I'd buried, anger, love, pity, nostalgia, all of it started to rise again, twisting inside me. Finally, I broke the silence. "You look tired." She gave a small, broken laugh. "That's one way to put it." She set her bag down by the door, her hands trembling, and then she just sank onto the couch. I stayed standing, distance felt safer. After a long pause, she said softly, "He's gone." I didn't have to ask who. Ethan, she stared at the floor, voice cracking. He cheated on me, Jake, with someone from his office. The irony almost made me laugh. Almost, she kept talking about how it started as something fun, how she thought it was love, how she thought she'd found someone who saw her. But in the end, she said, he made her feel smaller than she'd ever felt before. He said I was too emotional, she whispered, that I should get over things faster. He didn't even look at me when he ended it. Just packed up and left. Her voice broke and suddenly she was crying, really crying. The kind of crying that shakes your whole body. And I just stood there, watching the woman who shattered me now fall apart in front of me. A part of me wanted to hold her, to wipe her tears and tell her it was going to be okay. But another part, the part that had spent months rebuilding myself, stayed frozen. She looked up at me through tears. I deserve this, don't I? I took a slow breath. I don't know what you deserve, Emily, but I know what I did. I loved you, I trusted you, and you broke that. Her eyes filled again, I know. And I hate myself for it. She started rambling, almost pleading, about how she made a mistake, how she got lost, how she thought the grass was greener but it wasn't. I kept thinking about you, she said, every night. Every time he looked at me, I'd remember how you used to. You were safe, Jake, kind. I threw that away. Silence settled again, heavy, honest. I finally sat down across from her. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Just the sound of rain against the window, the city breathing quietly outside. Then I asked, why did you come back? She wiped her face, sniffled, and whispered, because you're the only person who ever really loved me. And I didn't realize how much that meant until I lost it. That hit me hard, not because it was what I wanted to hear, but because it sounded like something she needed to say to survive. I'm not asking you to take me back, she said quickly. I know I don't deserve that. I just needed to see you, to tell you I'm sorry, to tell you that you were never the problem. Her voice cracked on the last word. I felt my throat tighten. All those sleepless nights, the replayed memories, the unanswered whys, they all condensed into this single moment. I don't hate you, I said quietly. I thought I did for a while. But hate's just love that ran out of places to go. She looked up, tears streaming again. Then what do you feel now? I hesitated, and then I said, peace, I think. She nodded slowly, like she didn't expect forgiveness, but was grateful for the mercy of being heard. After a long pause, I stood. You can stay here tonight, I said softly, just tonight. Her lip trembled. Jake, I don't want to make this harder. It's not, I interrupted. It's just closure. She nodded, and for the first time that night she looked small. Fragile. She whispered thank you and disappeared into the guest room, the same room that used to hold boxes we never unpacked. I stood in the living room long after she was gone. The rain outside had stopped. The silence was heavy but not unbearable, and as I looked at her bag by the door, I noticed something, her phone sticking out of the side pocket. The screen cracked. It buzzed once, a notification, an unread voicemail. Curiosity got the better of me. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. I pressed play, and there it was, his voice. Ethan, Emily, you're overreacting. What we had was fun, but it's done. Don't embarrass yourself by coming here again, okay? Then laughter, cruel, detached. She must have saved it. Maybe as punishment, maybe as a reminder. Either way, I suddenly understood everything she'd been carrying. I stood there listening to his laughter fade and realized I wasn't angry anymore, not at her, not even at him. Because for the first time I saw the truth. She wasn't my enemy, she was just broken. And I'd spent so long trying to save her, I forgot I couldn't fix what didn't want healing. I set her phone down gently, and in that moment I knew exactly what I needed to do. Tomorrow her family was coming over, a dinner I'd promised months ago before she left. They thought we were still together, and maybe for one night it was time for everyone, including her, to finally hear the truth. Soft pause. Tomorrow I'd play her own voicemail, not to hurt her, but to finally let go. The next morning felt unnaturally calm. The city outside was alive, car horns, footsteps, the low hum of life moving on, but inside the air felt still. Emily was already awake, sitting at the kitchen counter, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee she hadn't touched. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were puffy but calmer. We didn't speak much. Just small, polite exchanges that felt almost foreign after everything that had happened. Around noon, I checked my phone, a reminder flashing across the screen. Dinner with the Parkers, 6 p.m., her family. I'd forgotten to cancel it when everything fell apart months ago, and now somehow the timing felt almost poetic. Your mom's expecting us tonight, I said quietly. She blinked. She is. Yeah, I said. I didn't cancel. She hesitated. Should we go? I looked at her for a long moment, then I nodded. Yeah, I think it's time everyone stopped pretending. We drove there in silence. The sky was gray, low clouds pressing down on the city. Her family's house was warm, familiar, the kind of place that always smelled like cinnamon and comfort. Her mom, Diane, opened the door, all smiles. Jake, Emily, oh my God, it's been forever. She hugged us both, oblivious to the tension radiating off us. Inside, her dad, Mark, was watching a game in the living room. Her sister, Claire, was helping set the table. It looked like any normal family dinner, laughter, small talk, the clink of silverware, except I couldn't hear any of it. Everything felt distant, like I was underwater. Emily sat beside me, fidgeting with her napkin. Her hands trembled slightly. She knew what was coming. I think deep down she always did. Halfway through dinner, her mom smiled and said, "So how have you two been? You look good together as always." The table went quiet. Emily's fork froze midair. Her eyes flicked to me, pleading, terrified. I took a slow breath. And then I said it, "We're not together anymore." Her mom frowned. "What?" I looked at Emily, giving her a chance to speak. She didn't. She just stared down at her plate, tears forming in her eyes. I continued softly. "We've been apart for a while. Things happened." Her father's brow furrowed. "What do you mean, things?" Silence again. Then Emily whispered, barely audible, "It's my fault, Dad." Her mother blinked, confused. "Honey, what are you talking about?" Emily's voice broke. I heard him. I did something terrible." Her mom reached for her hand, but she pulled away, shaking, and that's when I took out my phone. The room seemed to hold its breath. "Jake," Emily whispered, panic in her voice, "please don't." But I wasn't angry anymore. This wasn't revenge, it was release. "I'm not doing this to humiliate you," I said quietly. "I just need them to understand why we ended, so they don't keep asking me to fix something that's already broken." Her dad leaned forward. "Jake, what's going on?" I opened the voicemail app, found the one that started it all, 27 seconds long, and I pressed play. The room fell silent except for her voice, her soft, whispering words. "I can't stop thinking about you." Then his laugh, low, intimate. The sound filled the room like smoke, impossible to ignore. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth. Her father's eyes widened, his face turning pale. Her sister stared in disbelief, and Emily, she just broke. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Please, please stop." I ended the recording. The silence that followed was deafening. Her father stood slowly. "Emily, is that?" She nodded, sobbing, It's over now, it's all over." Her mother started crying too, whispering, "Oh, sweetheart, why?" I sat there calm, steady, because this wasn't about pain anymore. It was about truth. "I'm sorry," I said softly. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone, I just couldn't keep pretending everything was fine." Emily looked up at me, eyes red, voice trembling. "You're right," she whispered. "They needed to know. I needed to face it." Her mom reached for her hand again, and this time she didn't pull away. Her father left the table without a word. The rest of us sat there in silence, a silence that for once felt honest. After a while I stood. "I should go," I said quietly. Emily stood too, still crying. "Jake." I shook my head. "It's okay, you don't need to say anything." I turned to her moms. "Take care of her." Diane nodded tearfully. "We will. Thank you for telling us." As I walked toward the door, I heard Emily whisper, "Jake, wait." I stopped but didn't turn around. Her voice cracked. "I never stopped loving you." I closed my eyes. For a moment I almost believed her. But then I said the words I'd been holding on to for months. "I know, that's what makes it hurt." And then I left. The air outside felt cleaner, cooler. The rain had started again, light, soft, forgiving. I walked without direction, just letting the city swallow me up. Streetlights reflected off wet pavement. People hurried past, umbrellas in hand, lost in their own lives. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. That voicemail, the one that destroyed me, no longer felt like a wound. It felt like closure, because the truth isn't meant to hurt forever. It's meant to set you free if you let it. That night I sat on my balcony, watching the city breathe beneath me. I deleted the voicemail, not out of spite, but because I didn't need proof anymore. Somewhere across town, Emily was probably crying in her old room. Maybe she'd rebuild, maybe she wouldn't. Either way, that chapter was over. I took a deep breath, let it out slowly, and whispered into the night, not to her but to myself. "It's okay to let go." And for the first time, I actually meant it. It's okay to let go. And for the first time, I actually meant it.